Hello and welcome to another kinetic typography tutorial by Mr. Granlund. I'm going to go through how to start your kinetic typography and how to do several types of animation. Okay, I've got my composition set up here. I did a new project and I made a new composition in here like this. For my project, I'm going to do NTSC DV widescreen. You're free to pick any size that you want. Actually, I'm going to do something different. I'm going to do this HDV 720 here. And one of the first things I'm going to need is I'm going to need a background. So I'm going to go to Layer, New, Solid. I'm going to select a black color here by clicking in this color chip, clicking OK. I'm going to make another new solid. This one's going to be a color. So I'm going to go to Layer, New, Solid, and I'm going to choose a different color. I'm going to choose red and click OK. Now in this red color, I want it to look more spread out. So I'm going to click and hold on the rectangle tool at the top, go to the ellipse tool. And now, with that selected, I'm going to double click on the tool, and it gives me a perfect ellipse in there. You can click and drag one out, but I just double click and it's a lot easier. Down in the timeline, in the lower left-hand corner, I'm going to open up Mask and go to Mask Feather and bring that way up so it looks nice and faded in the background. That looks pretty good. Now this yellow circle, this ellipse here, that's not going to show up. It's going to look more like that when it all exports. Now because I don't want to mess anything up on these layers, I'm going to click the Lock button here. So I'm going to click Lock there and Lock there. Now I can't move it if I accidentally click on it. Now it's time to get an audio source. I'm going to minimize this. I'm going to go to my computer here, Computer, and you'll do this too. THS, Assignment Pickup, Art Department, Video Production Pickup, and Animation Files. And in Animation Files, I have a whole bunch of things that I can use as the audio for my project. I'm going to just take this first one, the Braveheart one, close this up, and I'm going to bring this into After Effects. Inside of After Effects, I go to File, Import, and File. Now I'm going to look for that file on my desktop. And I know it's a Wave 1. MP3, Braveheart, open. Now I'm going to drag this down to the bottom here, and now I have Braveheart, the audio, in there. If I push 0 on the number pad, it'll render it, and I'll start to hear it as it plays. Now it's time to add some words. There's 4 kinds of animations that I want you to do in this project. The first one is custom animation. So if I click a word and type, I'm going to listen to the first word of my audio. Okay, so I'm listening to the first word here. And I know he starts off with I am William Wallace. So I click I, okay, kind of move it into position. And I'm going to have this just move into the center here. To do that, I'm going to go to the triangle next to I, open up the transform tools, and then click on position. Okay? Now it sets a keyframe at this time and place, which is 0, but I actually want it to come in from the side. So I'm going to just take that keyframe in the center, move it over a little bit, and then I'm going to move the I off so that when it plays, I, and then you know what? I'm going to have it get real big and then disappear. So it stops there. It's going to get real big. So I click the stopwatch there. I'm going to increase this. And you know what? I might also move it in the center like that. So it looks like this. But I don't want it to move back over there, so I'm going to just move it back here. So and then when it gets big, I'm going to have am William Wallace. Now another thing I want to do is shorten this layer to just as long as I need it. So I grab the end here and I drag it back and I'll have it end right about there. You're going to be playing with this a lot. Now I'm going to type the next word. Okay, so I go to my T up at the top and it's going to be am. But that is way big and it seems to have connected to the I. So I'm going to hide my I for just a little bit by clicking on the I. And I'm going to type in am. And change some options here. Click on the color over on the left. And I'm going to just make it a little bit bigger by grabbing the corner here. So am. I'm going to use an effects and presets animation on this. So I'm going to go to animation presets, text, animate in, and I'm just going to do fade up and flip. Okay? So as it plays, it's just going to fade in and flip like that. Okay? Pretty easy. But I want the animation to happen sooner. So I click on this layer and push U, the letter U, on the keyboard. That shows me where the keyframes are. Now I can move those keyframes so that they happen in the right place. Like that. And then I'm going to go ahead and shorten that layer because I want it to disappear after a little bit. Okay? And then I'm going to do William Wallace. Okay? Get my text tool. And I'm going to do a three-dimensional animation for this one. So on this checkbox here, there's all these checkboxes, and the one underneath the cube makes this a three-dimensional layer. I'm going to go ahead and click that, and this makes it a 3D layer. To animate it, now I can move it in 3 dimensions, like that. And I can also spin it in 3 dimensions. So I, spin it on the x-axis, or the y-axis, or the z-axis, all kinds of good stuff. I'm going to spin it on the x-axis a little bit, animate it in like that, and I'll just have the position come in. I'll have it just kind of slide right there. And it's going to come after am. And those are the keyframes there. I like this one so much that I'm going to have Wallace do the exact same thing. So I'm going to Control D on the keyboard. And I'm going to just highlight the text here and type in Wallace. Delete this keyframe. Take this new keyframe, kind of slide it back in place there. And then I'm going to shorten these layers because they will disappear too. I'm going to turn I on, and it looks like this. Okay? I am William Wallace. And am looks a little late, so I'm going to click U, the letter U on the keyboard. And I'm going to have that come in just a little bit earlier. Oh, but that's too early. Slide that back. And my eye looks a little, I'm going to adjust the keyframes there. Hit U on the keyboard. And adjust these keyframes. Okay. As you can see, it's going to be a lot of small keyframes. Down at the bottom, I can zoom in here so I can see everything better. Now I've just shown you 3 kinds of animation all in one thing. I'll make another video and show you how to do parenting animation next.